Ricky Thompson used to think love was something you built slowly, layer by layer, sacrifice by sacrifice, like a house that needed careful hands and patient days. He believed marriage worked the same way, and for 6 years he tried to build one that would last. But sometimes foundations crack long before you ever see the damage. On a cool October night, Ricky stood in the kitchen of the home he had renovated as a gift for his wife, Trish. The house smelled faintly of paint and coffee and the soft floral detergent Trish preferred. He had poured 2 glasses of wine, hoping they'd talk, hoping she'd see him again instead of looking past him the way she'd been doing for months. She walked in, her heels tapping across the hardwood he had sanded himself. Her face was distant, annoyed, like arriving home was an obligation rather than a return. "Can we talk?" Ricky asked, his voice gentle. Trish sighed as though he'd asked for something outrageous. "Ricky, I'm tired. Can it wait?" It couldn't. He knew it couldn't. He just didn't know that the truth waiting behind her eyes would end everything. 3 days later, Ricky had the answer he never wanted. Trish had been cheating with Rod Johnson, a man whose name she barely tried to hide, whose number had shown up too often on their phone bill, whose smile she'd laughed at in ways she never laughed with Ricky. She didn't fight the divorce. She barely cried. She told him it was for the best. He realized then she had never truly chosen him. She had only settled until something better, or someone familiar, came along. The divorce was finalized on a Thursday. Ricky spent the weekend in a whirlwind of emotions. He knew the divorce was coming, but after it was final, the reality set in. He decided to go to church Sunday morning. The gospel music spoke to his soul. He stopped at a gas station on his way home. He watched an older lady in front of him buy a ticket for the next lottery drawing. Ricky thought to himself, nobody ever wins those things. When he got to the counter, he looked over at the lottery machine. He thought about getting a quick pick, but he hesitated. He paid for his gas and walked away from the counter. He looked at the leaded sign with the drawing amount. He thought to himself, what do I have to lose? He walked back over to the counter. After a brief hesitation, he pulled out $2 from his pocket. "Let me get a quick pick," he asked the store clerk. The store clerk hit a few keys on the machine. After about 3 quick seconds, the machine spit out a crisp lottery ticket. Ricky took a quick look at the ticket and placed it in his pocket. That Monday, the night of the drawing, Ricky just happened to have his television on during the drawing of the numbers. He was in the living room, wondering what colors to repaint the space. Now that Trish was no longer the primary interior designer, he wanted to add his own taste and style to the space. He watched the screen as the numbers were called. He did not run to get the ticket. In his mind, he already knew that he didn't win. He glanced at the screen as they flashed the final 6 numbers. He looked, shook his head, and went back to looking at wall colors. The next Wednesday night, Ricky was getting ready to do laundry. He was loading the washing machine when he came across the pants that he had on the prior Sunday. He was checking the pockets, and he ran across the lottery ticket. He placed the ticket on the counter in the laundry room and continued to load the washing machine. Once he turned the machine on, he grabbed the ticket, turned the light off in the room, and walked out. He went into his bedroom. He was about to throw the ticket away. He paused for a second and glanced at the ticket. He thought about the numbers that crossed the screen on Sunday. He remembered that there was a 36, a 15, and a 2. He grabbed his laptop and Googled the numbers from Sunday's drawing. 20, 29, 36, 15, 29, and 2. He stared at the screen until his vision blurred. A laugh bubbled out of him. Half disbelief, half relief, half the kind of hysterical joy that breaks through years of quiet suffering. He had won. Against every impossible odd, he had won. He took off the next day. He told his boss he needed a personal day to take care of family business. His boss knew he had just gone through a divorce, so he didn't hesitate to allow Ricky the day. He went downtown to the lottery office to claim his winning. He tried to keep the winning quiet, but news spreads fast. Trish found out a week later after he claimed the winning. She showed up at his house uninvited, wearing the smile she used to practice for her parents' dinner parties, the same smile she never wasted on him. "Ricky, can we talk?" she asked softly. He had heard that line before, but everything had changed now. She wanted him again, not because she suddenly loved him, but because she suddenly needed him. He told her no. She tried anyway. She told him not to turn his back on her. She said if he did not want to talk like adults, then she would get the lawyers involved. She contested the divorce decree. Her parents backed her, especially Robert Frost, who nearly spat with indignation. "You owe our daughter support," Robert said during a meeting with Ricky's lawyer. "You built your life with her. She sacrificed law school ambitions for you." Po. Ricky thought about the nights she humiliated him at her parents' dinner table, how she told friends he was trying that Airbnb thing, in a tone suggesting it was nothing more than a childish hobby. How she used his money for school while she used another man for affection. He thought about every brick he had laid to make their life work, and how she kicked each one loose. Luckily, he wasn't alone anymore. Before the divorce, he had started talking to Raven Sanchez, Trish's best friend. Raven had listened to him with sincerity Trish never gave him. She would come by with coffee when Ricky was sanding floors, asking questions about real estate investing, curious, eager. She admired his ambition, his persistence, the quiet determination he wore like armor. Raven wasn't like Trish. She didn't drink elitism like water. She didn't believe someone's worth was measured in degrees or pedigree. She believed Ricky was building something extraordinary. As Trish tried to claw her way back into the fortune she had abandoned, Raven stayed by Ricky's side, steady, warm, honest. Their friendship shifted into something deeper, slower, careful, but undeniable, and Ricky finally let himself feel it. Thomas, Ricky's best friend since middle school, stepped in when things got messy. He had been telling Ricky for years that Trish was poison, but Ricky hadn't wanted to hear it. Thomas wasted no time. "Now I'm sending you to Pendergrass," Thomas told him. "She's the best there is." Lisa Pendergrass was an Army JAG veteran with 20 years of war zone discipline and courtroom ferocity under her belt. She was known for tearing apart manipulative divorce cases, and she took one. Look at Trish's claim and smiled like she'd been handed a challenge she'd enjoy defeating. "This isn't a case," Pendergrass said. "This is a clean-up operation." Robert Frost tried to interfere, calling favors, attempting to block motions, throwing his prestige around Charlotte's legal community. But Pendergrass was relentless. She unearthed the affair. She traced Trish's financial motives. She dug through years of belittlement, neglect, and manipulation. In court, she dismantled Robert Frost's reputation piece by piece, exposing his elitism, his attempts at interference, and the hypocrisy of a man who preached integrity while enabling his daughters. Duplicity. It was a legal spectacle Charlotte wouldn't forget. By the end of it, the Frost family name, once respected, hung tarnished and heavy. Their colleagues distanced themselves, their invitations dwindled, their prestige cracked under the weight of truth. Ricky walked out of court a free man, a vindicated man, and a man no longer carrying the burden of a marriage that was never real. Raven met him outside the courthouse. She didn't rush him, she didn't hug him immediately. She just held out her hand, steady, trusting, and he took it. Together they founded the Thompson Group. With Ricky's winnings and his growing portfolio of Airbnbs, they built a real estate investment firm with a mission to help others rise the same way Ricky had, brick by brick. They opened educational programs, offered grants, and created pathways for first-time investors to step into the world he had once struggled to enter alone. Their partnership was more than business. It was second chances, rebuilt confidence, and the kind of love that grows slowly, not forced, not taken for granted, but earned over time. And for the first time in years, Ricky felt like he was finally standing on solid ground. If you like this story, comment where you are listening from. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share so you don't miss out on any stories. Until the next time, Be careful how you treat people. You never know what karma may have in store. The end.